Hi, my name is KD, or K, and I'm a music producer, artist, graphic designer, video editor, motion designer, and more. And today we're going to be checking out JIKJIN by Treasure. So let's watch. Okay, firstly, immediately the video is getting off to a great start. I really like the fact that the music producers put what's known as a pad or an ambient tension riser in the back leading in. As soon as the video begins, you can already sense some intrigue as the video progresses, and I really like how the producers made that choice. It's the perfect intro, providing us with some tension as the main dancer opens that door and starts to lead into the choreography later. I also really love how the producer included their vocal tag in there, Treasure. It's really good. I really like that production. Also, another quick pause, I really like how their vocals are sitting in the entire production. They have some really nice high range, mid range, and essentially when you're producing the entire vocals for the production, you tend to have to cut out the bottom range, which are a certain set of frequencies that tend to interfere with the mix, and you keep the mid range and the high range. And the high range is essentially for vocal clarity, or air as it's called. And I really like their actual singing in this. It's perfectly spot on pitch and it's very melodic, like, ooh. It's really nice. It just adds to the production. The choreography like this, that's really nice. I really like the visual effects that are on the dashboard of the hypercar. It's really interesting because it looks like it's chromatic aberration, which is just a spreading of the RGB values in the color of the video. And that's an effect you can set in Premiere Pro or certain other non-linear editing softwares. And non-linear editing just means an editing software like Premiere Pro or Final Cut or whichever one you choose. Those hypercars, I can tell that those are probably, they look like McLarens or and there's definitely Lamborghinis in them. That's quite interesting. It really adds to the production. Conceptually and abstractly, it adds to the visual element of the song having a pretty fast pace. So the fact that they're hypercars is quite interesting, as we're in the intro here. There's also some really nice visual elements. They're on the subway and then they're in a car garage, it looks like, now they're in the room. Every certain note in the measure, you can tell that there are snares as an instrument filling in the background and creating some more tension, adding some rhythm. It's really interesting, the entire production so far. I'm really liking this, and I genuinely always love hip hop and trap and EDM songs, and I really like to break down the production. Oh, this part is beautiful. I love this. Oh, the choreography, this is popping locking animation style. I love this. This is my favorite style of dance. Popping locking or animation style dance is my absolute favorite style of dance. So to have this in an EDM video, which is also hip hop and trap, which are also my favorite genres of music, is wonderful. It just adds to the entire production and the intensity of the production. And visually, audibly, and choreographically, it ties everything in really well. That's crazy. Okay, there's some unbelievable panning right there. So in the production, there's panning going on left and right, which means that it's transitioning between the left stereo channel and the right stereo channel as you have headphones on. And you can hear this is hard panned left and hard panned right. That's exactly what it's sounding like in the stereo mix, because this is stereo. I love putting that in my own tracks as a producer and adding these production elements that are unique, rhythmic, and melodic and just add to the production. And these are my favorite types of songs. You can also actually hear the horns going off in the background and the panning, and there's tension and gaps of silence in between those vocal chops. Vocal chops are essentially when you can actually hear their vocals stuttering, or there's gaps in between there. There's some silence, and that creates an unbelievable amount of tension and interest and intrigue as the song is sort of building up as a roller coaster and then falls in and then builds up again. It's interesting. It's so intense. The horns and the 808s and the kicks are absolutely perfectly mixed here. There's such an unbelievable amount of just hype and intensity in the song. It's fantastic. You can hear their ad-libs in the background. Now in the video, production wise, we actually go into what sounds like the bridge here, but it's most likely going to be repeated, so we'll call it the refrain. It's interesting here because now the camera is rotating and there's different visual elements to go along with that different section of the song. It all connects musically and visually, so we don't actually have match cuts here. We're not doing any cutting. In the actual footage, we're not chopping out separate parts of the footage to make a cut, but it looks like we're doing match cutting because the elements are so similar. And as the camera is rotating for visual appeal, they're kind of moving forward and changing position. But then there's actual match cuts here to the next dance here. And there's also cuts to the hypercars to show fast action. There's also snare fills in the musical production, and there's some ambience and risers going through that are releasing the tension. You can hear there's like risers going in the background, and then there's tension sort of being released as we're going into what sounds like the pre-chorus or the build-up of the actual song to get to the chorus, which is the main repeated part of the song, which is the hook. That's also a really beautiful visual element where one of the dancers is just standing in the middle of a really open arena, which sort of represents vastness. And it's a nice, calm transition into what's going to be a super intense buildup and drop into the chorus. JIKJIN. So I absolutely love their dancing in this. They're actually filling in the stutters and gaps in the production with those clean popping and locking moves. So they're actually tying in the song visually with their choreography, with the visual production and the actual entire music production. And there's really just a whole cohesive synergy, sort of holistically speaking. And it's really beautiful. I absolutely love this. This is like peak art. This is when creators are thinking their best and they're making just the best music. And it's wonderful. And it's a really intense modern song. I really like the fact that their vocals are kind of sliding almost on the beat. It's really interesting. It sounds like there's a little bit of auto-tune. The vocal chops and stutters and panning to the left and right, like super hard panning, 100% left and 100% right, sounds just absolutely wonderful. It adds to the intensity of the song, and their dancing is, again, perfect with this. The 808s, which are the low boomy bass sound, which you hear in pretty much all of hip hop, are really cleanly mixed with the actual kicks. The kicks are providing some crazy intensity with the 808s. The 808s are really nice in the way they're sliding. So you can actually hear the brass horns sustaining through to until they actually finish their phrase, which is JIKJIN. In this case, the brass horns are sort of grounding the mix, and they're providing the low frequencies to fill it out. It's really well mixed and mastered as far as the whole instrumental mix goes. I really like the vocals here in this part as well. Those tunnels and those transitions are really awesome as well. They dance move when they're kicking their feet. This is pretty fantastic as well. Just a super intense chorus and video. I really like their clothing too. The stylist did a really wonderful job. That's super cool when they're doing this as well in the circle. So my entire take on JIKJIN as an artist, motion designer, graphic designer, and more myself is that firstly, it's very beautifully made. There are really some amazing artistic motifs in here. The creative directors, producers, choreographers, dancers, entire team, and everybody just did a wonderful job creating this video. I really absolutely love the theming in this video, the style. I love the fact that it's EDM and trap and hip hop all at once. Those are my favorite genres. And I really like the overall intensity of the video. You can tell that there was a lot of effort, timing, creativity, and patience put into this entire production by everyone. And I absolutely love the way it's presented here, and I cannot wait to see what Treasure comes up with next. So those were my ideas on the video. I really hope that you liked what I had to say, as I tried to examine it from many different angles and perspectives to show you how much work actually goes into creating such an awesome production like this. And if you want to see more of my original music as an artist with Sony Music Publishing, my edited videos, my graphic designs, my motion graphics, and all of the productions that I've created in my portfolio throughout the years, with much more to come, follow me on my socials to keep up with what I'm creating in the future. Take care.